Walking down these empty streets, echoes of the past I meet. Lost and wandering for so long, searching for where I belong. Sunrise breaking through the night, guiding me back to the light. Every step feels like a prayer, promises hang in the air. Come back home, heal your heart, where the love never parts. Come back home, find your peace. In this place, your pain will cease. Memories of laughter and tears, answers to my deepest fears. In these walls I find my truth, washing away the years. Ruth, oh, the road was long and rough, but my spirit's had enough. Here in the sanctuary, healing feels extraordinary. Come back home, heal your heart, where the love never parts. Come back home, find your peace. In this place, your pain will cease.
Hey, good morning, family. What's going on, gentlemen? Ladies who sneak in the morning, what's going on? Good morning, Instagram. Good morning, Facebook. Good morning, YouTube. Welcome to the Dear Brother Podcast morning show. Hey, man, what's today? Today is Thursday. We almost at Friday. Yes, we're almost at Friday, man. You made it another week. You know, I think sometimes we say stuff like, man, I don't know if I can make it. You know how many times I said, man, I don't know if I can make it. And then I flat out made it. You know what I mean? I didn't know if I can make it, and then I made it. So, you know, sometimes you gotta go ahead and just believe that you're gonna make it, man. Stop counting yourself out. Stop counting yourself out. Good morning, everybody. I got a longer show today. I don't have a half-hour show today. I don't have to get baby to school, so we can spend a little time. I want to talk today, man. This is going to be heavy today. I want to prepare your heart, prepare your mind. Don't be scared. This is going to be heavy today because I want to talk about, and I might offend some people, but I think some of you that know me by now from either just meeting me on social media or rocking with me for years, you know that I'm not afraid to offend with truth. I'm not going to ever offend just to offend, but I'm not afraid to offend with truth. Because I want to talk about some systems that keep men completely bound, and how a lot of times they're system failures. We have system failures. There's a lot of system failures, and I believe that one of those failures is in religion. I do. I believe one of those system failures is in religion. I believe the other system failure is in education. I think the other one is the family. I do. I think there are three definite places where men are broken and we don't even pay attention to it. Men become broken from little boys. This is the thing I want y'all to know. A broken man didn't just become a broken man. Many times the things that are broken in us were ignored when we were little boys. It's unspoken pain. And I'm going to tell you, this is the biggest thing I'm learning, that a lot of us men, it's not that we don't feel pain. We don't have the words for our pain, right? We can't express it. That's why when someone most of the times ask a man and say, yo, you all right? Yeah, I'm cool. It's not that you're really cool. It's just that you don't have the words to say it, right? And so what people do is either they back up, right? Or they just push you away, right? Because you don't have the words to express it. Because most times from little boys, they don't give us words. They don't teach us words to express. And if as a little kid, you have words to express, it's almost like be quiet, shut up. You know, growing up in some communities, I know growing up in my community, obviously I'm a black man. In my community, growing up, You didn't speak when adults were speaking, right? Your voice didn't matter, right? Think about that lesson. And many of you know about that. You've been told, be quiet. Don't talk when grown folks talking. And you know what that does? It helps not to develop a boy, right? Here you are trying to take in thought and express your feelings, and you're being almost told, yo, be quiet. Because I'm telling you that a lot of our brokenness, my brothers, it starts from the time we're a child. And then we're wondering by the time we're 16, 17, 18, what's going on, right? Here, let me throw my little plug in. Go to my website, christianwinners.com. I'm almost full for the first month. But every month I meet with a group of 12 men online once a week, 9 to 11 on Saturdays. That table of 12 giants, go on christianwinners.com right now, sign up for the table of 12 giants. I'm helping men discover their purpose and birth their passion project wherever they want to do it. I'm activating men, right? Heal people, right? So go to my website, christianwinners.com, sign up for my table of 12. I think I have maybe three spots left for, in fact, it starts this weekend. October 14th. I believe it's this weekend. Let me check. Yes. October 12th. I might be tripping. Let me see. Yes, October 12th. Yes, this weekend. So gentlemen, sign up for my table of 12 giants. I am connecting men with their purpose, and we're birthing your passion project in 1 month's time. What I'm trying to do is start a revolution of men, right? Not a violent revolution. That's not necessary. It's not about violence. What I'm starting is a consciousness. I'm starting a consciousness to wake up men's conscious. Their bank accounts have been, everybody know they got to get money. I'm waking up consciousness, right? 12 men at a time. I'm not interested in standing in front of 5,000 people. I'm not interested in filling up stadiums. I'm interested in sitting with 12 men at a time, birthing their passion projects. Go to christianwinners.com. Sign up for my table of 12 giants. Christian, how much it costs? Nothing. Hey, I give one-on-one coaching to the men. Christian, how much that costs? It's donation based. What's your donation go to? Your donation helps me help other men, right? I'm going to tell y'all the quick story. When I was in mental trouble and I was looking for a counselor, right? It's all exciting. I'm going to get help. And then you start looking at what it costs. And if you don't have insurance and you don't have cash, I don't believe that a man should, because of lack of insurance or lack of cash, not be able to get mental help. That's insane, right? So I do donation-based coaching just for men only, that you can go on my website right now, set up your time, bro. If you're having marriage issues, mental issues, if you're just trying to figure out, man, what I'm going to do with these kids, you got a dream, you got a business you're trying to grow, you need some coaching, you need some help, some advice, reach out, christianwinners.com. All right, let's get into it. So I believe that there's system failures again. And I believe honestly, and I don't think this is just the church, but because I was a pastor and because I am a Christian, right? I believe that the church has a role in suppressing the identity of men. I believe that the church has a definite role in suppressing the identity of men. See, sometimes I sit on these thoughts, man, because they hit me hard. But I believe that the church has a big role in suppressing the identity of men, right? We have to address it. And let me say this. I was going to hold on to this thought, but look, we kicking it. Y'all my brothers, so we just going to talk. Right, wrong, or indifferent. This is my thinking. Do you see how in church we have a lot of men, and I'm not just dealing with this, but I want to talk about this. We have a lot of men in church that deal with not knowing who they are sexually, right? You have men carrying purses, you have men in church, makeup, bags, all these things, right? And then in the mosque, you have a lot of those young boys are violent. See, when you're spiritual, you see past all this stuff and you see what's really going on. You got to understand that we have an enemy. And let me say this to some of you that's listening right now. Listen to me. Stop living as if you don't have an enemy, right? I hear a lot of these young cats talk about you got ops. Listen, your op out there, or somebody don't like you on your job, or some clown that's trying to kill you in the street. There's no enemy like the enemy behind the enemy. There's a spirit that drives all this stuff. And I personally believe that there's a role, these spiritual places have a role to lift men, and I don't think we're lifting men. I don't think we're lifting men. Because if we look at it, we have men battling their sexual identity in churches, and then you have Muslim boys that are killing people by the dozens. See, and while we hide behind religion or argue about whose faith is right, as men, all of us, we're losing Christian men to misidentity, and we're losing Muslim boys to murder. Check the city. Check the stats. Check the stats. You see, so I would never sit back and argue with a spiritual leader about what way we should do communion or is first Sunday all white Sunday. What are you talking about? You have men that don't know who they are in churches. You have men, Muslim boys, right? There was a day where the Muslim boy was the honored boy. Now you gotta look. Everybody who's doing crime in cities, they're saying they're Muslim. So what that says is there needs to be leadership that speaks to men in these religions. And I wasn't going to go here this morning, but since we're here, let's get into it. I believe that the Christian and the Muslim need to come together and have a conversation. I believe Muslim men and Christians need to come together and have a conversation because we claim the same Father. We claim the same Father, and we have the same Father, Abraham. Abraham was the father. And then you had the wild son, right? And your Bible says, for some of you religious Christians who hide in your churches, you better wake up your mind and look at what God is doing in the world instead of in your storefront. Because this is real, what I'm talking about. If the Christian brother get with the Muslim brother, why should they have a conversation? They should have a conversation because they're brothers, right? Ishmael it wasn't his fault he was born. Abraham made that decision. Abraham made that decision to have that baby with Hagar, and he produced Ishmael. Ishmael, the Bible says that he had to put Ishmael out the house, but your Bible says that Ishmael would be a great nation. It would be a great nation. It said it will be a wild nation, but a great nation. And then you have then you have Isaac, right? And so there's a scripture that always interested me, but from 20 years ago. When those boys got together, they came together, Ishmael, Isaac, they came together to bury their father Abraham. And I always wondered what the conversation was on the way to bury him. I believe, look, man, don't come on here looking for weak talk. We talking global healing for men talk. Y'all hear what I'm saying? We talking global healing for men talk. If the Muslim brother and the Christian brother get together and realize what did they talk about on the way to bury their father, I believe there's a conversation that needs to be had that can change the world. And I'm not talking about black power because there are multi-racial aspect in Christianity. There's a multi-racial aspect in Islam. And if we ever get together and talk about our father, I wonder how we can change society. But I'm going to leave that alone because I think y'all scared of that kind of talk. I think we scared of that kind of talk. I believe that this conversation would change the concept of what's going on in Israel and Gaza. I believe a real conversation. See, this is the thing. You know what weak men do? They start wars instead of conversation. Weak men start wars instead of conversation. And whether that war be a world war or that war be a war in the street, we have a concept now where men are being suppressed. Our thinking is being suppressed. We're not thinking like men. We're thinking like thugs and clowns. And we call that manhood. And we see it. Hollywood is giving it to us. Politics is giving it to us. I hope that one day we would stop being influenced by what's on TV and start being influenced by the men in our communities to come together and see what's going on in our community. Oh, I'm talking, man. I'm going to talk to y'all this morning. Let's get into it. I'm talking global healing for men. Global healing for men means that men have to stop hiding behind their pain, their religion. They have to stop hiding behind racism. They have to stop hiding behind these things and come together and have conversation. Again, weak men start wars. Strong men start conversation. And I believe, I'm gonna talk from my aspect as a former pastor and as a Christ follower now, right? I believe the church has a role in suppressing the identity of men. Why? Because we never studied the people individually. Oh man, I'm glad today is a long show. Let me pour my coffee. Huh? Yeah, because we never studied people's identity. Jesus had 12 disciples. He had 12 men that were totally different. They had different gifts. They had different backgrounds. They had different concepts, right? And he knew it. He chose those individuals because of their individuality. In church, we do not honor people's individuality. We try to turn everybody the same. So instead of getting to know, for example, John, he was the one that loved Jesus most. He said he would lay his head on Jesus' breast. He was the one that really understood spiritual things, right? Peter was the outspoken, I'm never scared. Y'all remember that song? I ain't never scared. I ain't never scared. Yeah, that might be my theme song when I get out here and push this men's movement. I think we scared. I think we need to get unscared, right? But Peter was, I ain't never scared. He was rocking, right? Then you had Luke the physician. See, all these dudes were individuals. But when you come in church, if you're a strong man, we'll just make you a deacon. Well, you're an artist. You're a writer. You are a leader. You are a revolutionary. You are this and you are that. But I believe that the church played it safe, and we suppressed men that could have drove the gospel and drove the vision for men and communities. But we played it safe. I'd rather you be a deacon. And then you have in churches, what you have is insecure leadership. A lot of times you have insecure leadership in male leaders that don't want men to thrive around them. The church has had a major role in suppressing men because they didn't get to know you, right? Or they were okay with your family coming to church, but never sent you a phone call. Oh man, I ain't never scared, bro. Because to heal, you got to dig. And I'm digging right now, right? Right? The church didn't push the family model. We just called our church family our family. Why didn't we heal the family? See, that's the suppression of men. That's the suppression of men. And I'm not saying that a lot of times as a leader, because I know there might be some pastors that are offended right now. Listen, if you're offended, I'm only talking to you, right? If you're offended, I'm talking to you. But if you lift your spiritual mind instead of looking at me getting mad, you would really understand that this is a global issue. I don't care what you do in your storefront on your block. When the world talks about the church, they don't talk about your storefront on your block. They talk about the church as a whole. And imagine if the church as a whole had a picture, had a push for healed men to heal society. But we don't do that. We suppress men because of jealous leadership. We suppress men because we don't know how to get to know men. We suppress men because we cater to their wives and their children, but don't cater to them. One of the greatest things my father, my pastor ever did. Let me see. Let me get in here. Okay. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Right. One of the best things I ever saw my pastor do. Apostle Joseph Scott. I want to shout him out of New Jersey. The man. Right. When I was young, I was like, maybe like, I don't know. I got saved at 12. Started preaching at 14. So this must have been, I was about 13. And one day over the pulpit, he was standing in front of the podium and he looked, my dad, I brought my mom and dad to church. I got saved at 12. And then me and my sister brought my mom and dad to church. And they got saved. I ordained my dad as elder. This was crazy. One day I'll tell y'all my story, right? But he looked out in the congregation. He said, Brother Winters, he said, me and my family coming to your family's house for Thanksgiving. And I knew, even though I was a kid in that moment, it was something about that moment. I said, that man is trying to win that man's heart. That pastor is interested in that father of that family, right? Because, the women in the church will give you an offering and bake cakes and support everything you do and give all their money and do all kinds of fundraisers. You think a strong church is built on women? Imagine getting men surrounding it. And I ain't just talking about, I'm going to talk about the education system in a minute too. Right? But we got to deal with these spiritual organizations that have catered to the brokenness of women and have not tried to strengthen the strength of men. We have been weak on male issues. We have been weak because we made them deacons when they were really more powerful. They had other things to do. But we put them in positions where we can control them. Right? Like, how much are we paying attention to men? Men's ministry, I'm going to stay here for a minute again because I ain't scared. Men's ministry is more than just having a bowling night, dog. You got men bowling that want to kill themselves after the bowling game is over, right? Men's ministry is more than kicking it and going to get some wings at some wing store. It is sitting with men, starting the conversation to tamp down the chaos that is in men's mind. You can have a good time with men, but you got to heal men. You got to spend time with them. Here's the word. You got to disciple men. You got to pull men under your wing. Another reason that men are suppressed in churches is because leaders are too scared to bring them close, because most leaders got too much to hide. You got too much to hide to bring people close to you, right? And I know some of you don't understand the church system. Don't worry about it. I'm about to get to the education system. We talked about the Muslim brothers. We'll talk about the Jewish brothers. Yeah, but we suppressed men. We suppressed them because we made them be what we needed instead of driving into their lives what they needed to be. We suppressed men. We suppressed men. We suppressed our boys. We suppressed our boys by allowing our boys in church to have a game under the table or send them to some children's church. Shouldn't be no children's church. If you got a 10-year-old boy, he already watching porn. What you sending him to children's church for? You got a 13-year-old boy already battling with low self-esteem in his head. What you sending him down there to count his ABCs for? Put him in the sanctuary. Be the kind of leader that can talk to men and talk to boys, because this world is tearing boys up while we sending them to children's church. Right? We made people who we needed them to be. We stuck everybody in our little category of titles, right? We have the evangelist or the deacon, the whatever, and the bishop, and the what, right? What if I'm none of those things as a man? Do you want to know who I am? Or do you want to stick me in your box that's safe for you? That's why men don't come to church. Because men aren't born to sit there and listen to somebody talk every week. Men are born builders. And if you don't give men something to build, they will leave. Yeah, we didn't work on personal development in men. We didn't work on that directly. Your sermon is not discipleship. Stop thinking you can preach to people and heal them. Discipleship is what changes lives. Discipleship is what raises up people. Discipleship is what raises up revolutionaries and get them in touch with their gift and how they can touch the world. Right? We don't do this because guess what? Some of you leaders, some of your pastors, some of you national leaders were more worried about money and building buildings, and you knew women would do it. Instead of building the foundation, you build foundation with men. You build buildings with women. And some of y'all want buildings. You don't want foundation. You want screens on your walls and your TV. You don't want foundation because men might challenge you. We suppressed men. How dare we? And what are you talking about, Christian? I'm talking about the slyest beast of the field. What was Satan's desire in the garden? It was to suppress a man. It was to suppress a man. Let me see who's in the chat. Let me see. Let me see. Yeah. I'm just checking the chat. My man Marty, thanks for coming through, my brother. Thank you, brother. I'm glad you enjoying it, man. Yeah, man, we need to have this talk a lot more. I appreciate you coming through, my brother. Good morning, Jess. Look at the ladies coming in here. We need the ladies. We need the ladies around. Let me see. That's deep. The church has a big role regarding men's identity. Absolutely. Absolutely. You want to know God. The reason I'm doing this, right? And it wasn't a calling. Let me explain something. I'm glad it's Thursday. We're gonna spend some time. Me, so I did evangelical work. I've done all the fivefold ministry I've done, right? Fivefold ministry I've done. And again, let me not do this. Let me do this. Fivefold ministry, because guess what? The apostle is not more important than the bishop and all these things y'all made up. Ministry is not a corporate ladder. You don't climb a corporate ladder ministry. You expand ministry, right? You expand. So for some of you out there, understand this. You expand on the place God has you. If you're a pastor, you expand it. You don't climb to a bishop. You don't climb there is no climb. That's because we invited the corporate ladder in the church. Let me talk about that for a minute, right? So if I'm at work as a man and my goal was to climb the corporate ladder, and then I come in church and now you make me the dude who sweep up the floor, and then one day I might be a deacon, and one day I might be an elder, and one day, you see the slave mentality? You see the slave mentality we have right in our churches? Look at the slyest beast of the field. He done turned our churches back into plantations where you got men hoping that one day I might be something. A pastor might make me something. Brother, God already made you something. What you waiting for some clown with a chain on to lay his hand on you? You were born with a purpose. God knew you before you were born. Don't tell me that you need a pastor to tell you who you are. You got to discover your purpose. Because you cannot wait for religious organizations to do. There was no religious organization in the garden. There was a man with his God and a man with his family. Let me see. My man Wayne Bryant, chicken soup for the souls. Thankful, bro. Love for years. Yes, sir. Will do, Wayne. Love you, brother. Sherelle Steele. Hey, sister. This is good. It's good that you're here, sister. Let me see. Some pastors have done us a disservice, causing us to look to them and not. Absolutely. There are leaders again, because let me get into this right quick. Based on what Yolanda's saying, Moses, right? Moses had. Let me see. Let me see. Did I miss? Let me see. Did I miss? Okay. All right. Let's talk about Moses. Moses brought probably 1.9 million people out of Egyptian bondage. He probably brought 1.9 million people out of Egyptian bondage. And he was rocking with them. He was getting them where they got to go, right? And then one day the people start pressing him bad. Yo, why don't we just go back, man? We need to go back, man. This trip we tripping. We need to go back. Moses was like stressing out, like, man, God, you got me out here like this, man. Look at the stress on male leadership. Oh, God, you got me out here like this, right? But he was willing to go. Listen, let me throw this in. Any man willing to go, God will be with you. Go where? Into the deepest, darkest parts. Any man that's unafraid to go into the deepest, darkest parts to help people in the dark, God will be with you. Let me get back to this because I didn't say this. I'll get back to Moses. The reason why I started this podcast and I chose it, God didn't call me to start this podcast. I did all those ministries and I said, God, what should I do next? After I almost died a couple times, after I've been homeless twice, after I lived in this car, all these things. I said, God, what in the world? Who do you want me to talk to? Because you're taking me through who do you want me to talk to? And God said, well, you choose. Choose? I thought you chose. You choose. And something hit me just as hard. Boom. See, he was the guy that asked me, but he was also gave me the answer, right? He gave me the answer. He said, who did I start with? I said, men. You started in a garden with a man. That man was broken in the garden. And you know the Bible starts with a man in the garden? Flip all the way to Genesis. It ends with a man in the garden. All these books. All those 64 books in between, the purpose was to get a man back to a garden. That's why the primary ministry in the world, no matter what the faith is to restore the purpose of man. Ooh, huh? That's why you can't get caught up on all the stuff in between, brother. You can't get all caught up on the stuff in between, huh? Yeah, let me talk about this because I know I got a lot of black folks on here right now. Let me talk about how many of you got caught up in Obama. I'm not against Obama. I'm just trying to show you the systems, the political systems that have us all screwed up. Huh? You looked at him as if he was going to change something for you. No, brother. No, brother. There was no president in the garden. It was just a man and his family. There was no government in the garden. There was a man and his family. There was no church, masjid, or synagogue in the garden. It was unnecessary because the family is the strongest entity. If you restore a man, you restore a generation. We have hurt men because we left them disoriented in church. And then when they left, we said they wasn't saved, that they didn't love God. They love God. They didn't like your system. You didn't minister to men. We didn't give men tools. Men don't like to depend on other men for everything. Oh, y'all, see, you got to respect this. You see, we don't know men. You know men, then you'll know how to deal with men. Men don't like to always be caught up on somebody else's thing. Men want to give me the tools, man. Show me how to build. It's what Nehemiah did, right? The wall. And Nehemiah didn't build the wall. You know what he did? He went where the wall was torn down and gathered different kinds of men. Oh, y'all brothers do steel work. Oh, y'all do glass work. Oh, y'all bend metal. Oh, you do rocks. Oh, y'all cook. All right, let's build this wall. And that's why Nehemiah's wall looked different. It was different heights. It was different everything, but it never broke. Because some of the tribes were taller, some were shorter, some knew how to do this, some how to do that. The wall looked crazy, but it was solid. Because he gathered different men, different skills, different kinds, different minds, and he convinced them to work on one thing: protect the nation. Let me see. See who's in the chat. Let me see. The fivefold is not a tool. The fivefold is a tool, not an identity. Yes. Good God. My man Marty. Good stuff, brother. Good stuff. Let me see. Heyman, what's up, brother? Most churches cater and are for geared to women. Absolutely. Not against it, but there is a fall off between the man and woman. Yes. Yes. And guess what, Heyman? I'm going to go a little further. I'm going to push you. I'm going to push you on this, my brother. I'm going to push you on this. I am against it. I am against gearing churches to please women. I am against it. I'm against it. I'm against it. God didn't start with a woman. He started with a man. And if you gear a church toward women, where's the protection? Where's the provision? You know why a lot of places push ministry toward men? Huh? They push ministry. They push ministry toward women. A lot of those pastors, it's easy to manipulate broken women. You can't manipulate men. You can't lie to men. You can't collect a building fund offering for 15 years and never build a building. A man gonna ask you a question. We suppress men because as much as we want men to be strong, we're scared of men's strength. We're scared of men's strength. Thank you, Heyman. Great stuff, man. My man, brother, thank you for coming through, bro. Let me see. What did Ron McGee say? Where are you at, Ron? I don't see your post, brother. Let me see. See Instagram. All right. All right. And so here, let's get to this. Come on, camera. They need to see me. All right. Education systems. Education systems are disconnecting men from themselves. Schools, they push a curriculum that has little relevance to a boy's personal development. You don't think this is designed? You don't think the education system was designed to suppress men, to suppress dreams? Absolutely. What do you think from K to 12? Why do you think it changes? It's a slave code. And not just for black men, it's a slave code for all. School doesn't teach men how to be men. What's a man? A man learns how to develop himself. It's personal development. Instead of personal development, we cram a curriculum down a boy's throat and then we test him to death. And then what do we do? Peep this. Listen, when I'm not talking about people. I'm talking the most subtle beast of the field. We don't know what he does. Here with, if you test a boy to death and he can't pass, what do we say? He failed the test. Look at the language. You failed, right? F. Somebody puts a big F on your paper with a circle around it. How does that make you feel? It tears down a boy. It makes him feel worthless. Then you wonder why he's out after 4th grade. Because the education system wasn't built to raise men. It was built to suppress men. It was built to make them never see themselves, only see value in passing tests. And if they can't pass a test, then they're a failure. A boy that thinks he failed a test, then he thinks he failed at life. How long will he believe in himself? Not long. Not long. That's why when you grow up, you say, man, we should have learned this in school, or we should have learned that in school. Because once you become a man, you realize, my God, that system stole nothing but time. That's why more people are moving toward homeschooling. So I can give you a life education to teach you how to deal with this as a man. You know what my goal is? I'm going to speak it right now. I wish I could show it to y'all. Yeah, this is how crazy I'm going to show y'all. See that right there? Yeah. Yeah, that's my whole vision right there. I know it look crazy. Huh? Yes, it's going to be $1 billion industry. And one of them, I know you can't see the box, but one of my goals up there is to start the Thomas Winters School for Boys. Who is Tom Winters? Tom is my dad. Tom is my dad. Huh? He died at 59. He was one of the strongest cats I knew. Right? Yeah, that's what I'm doing. I want to start the Thomas Winters School for Boys. Why? So we can raise a generation of men who know how. Who know how. Let me see. See what's in the chat. Church is pushing catering to women. I'm against it also. Yes. And you're a woman. Yes. Where's the protection? Where's the protection? You're left manipulated without protection. Listen. Imagine it this way. You have a men's ministry in your church, and right, and all the men do is find problems in the neighborhood and solve them. Stop bowling and eating wings like a bunch of dummies. Look around the neighborhood, see who's hurting, see who don't have nothing, see who kitchen falling apart in their house. Go get some tools. Start rebuilding the neighborhood. You want men's ministry? That's what men's ministry is. See, the issue is another thing about church is what we've done is we've addicted people to entertainment. We've addicted people to entertainment. We've entertained them right out of seriousness. Yeah. Here's one. I'm gonna throw. This one might go viral. Here. I'm gonna say this because I've been thinking about it. So I was ordained a bishop, right? When I was ordained a bishop, I was like 20-something, 20. My dad was going, mama. I was like 26, 27, right? And it was justified. I had about 9 churches. I was justified. I didn't want to become a bishop. The only reason I became a bishop because my mom was diagnosed with cancer, and they said it would be short. And my mom was the one packing my bags at 14 and 15, traveling the country to go speak. So I wanted to celebrate my mom before she left. So they were offering me the bishopric. I'm like, yo, it's unnecessary. My mom was passing away. I said, you know what, let me do this for my mom because she's going to pass. Right. And so the reason I got rid of it, number one, was because it hinders my work in the world. Sometimes people hear these titles we have and they don't want what your gift is. They're stuck on your title and then they're not worried about you. Another thing is, I want y'all to listen to this real close. I'm going to get real close. I can't be a bishop. I'm divorced. I'm not a husband of one wife, just like many of you. You want to be a man? Be that honest. Throw your title away because biblically, you can't even be it. Y'all not ready for that. Y'all not ready for that kind of manhood. Boy, this man is crazy. Somebody gonna kill him one day. It will be my honor. It'll be my honor to be killed for truth. Y'all being killed for lies. The education system is not relevant to development. Endless testing, not uplifting, right? Chase the girls. There's nobody teaching a boy how to tie his tie or what he needs for life in the education system, right? So should everybody go to a private school? No, private schools are just as bad. I was a principal of a private school. Just because you pay don't make it better if there's no educational structure. That's the reason I left being a principal. Because I had a looming cloud of a board over my head who was uninterested in education. They're interested in collecting money and doing it for the next 30 years. I was a principal of a Christian school. I was a teacher in a Christian school before that. And you know what? I had a boys class every Friday. And you know what I asked those boys? How long you been in Christian school? Oh, I've been here for since I was in kindergarten. How much you know about God? Hey, Mr. Winters, I ain't really started learning about God till now, till you got here. Till I got here? And you've been here since kindergarten? See, it's not set up. It's not set up. And when I taught that boys class, I remember one day my boys class turned into like a Pentecostal revival in my classroom. And these is boys, 6th to 8th grade boys, all kinds of nationalities. I had one Muslim boy in there, right? And I'm teaching about Adam and the responsibility of man. And these little boys is like sitting there staring at me like this. And then I see them tears coming in their face. And they desired this. Boys desire to be men, but there's no fathers. There's no fathers. Now, what's a father? A father is not just a man who makes a baby. A father is a man willing to offer wisdom that doesn't need anything in return, right? A father is not a gatekeeper. Whoa, a father is not a gatekeeper. Gatekeepers need something in return for lifting you up. I'm going to do a podcast on this, but I'm going to do a podcast probably today. Matter of fact, I am doing it today. I'm going to talk about Satan's heaven on earth. Satan has set up different Hollywoods in every level. See, what you're seeing with Diddy is not just that Hollywood. It is Hollywoods in the church and gatekeepers in the church. There's Hollywood in education, and there's also gatekeepers. See, we don't want to talk about that. We rather focus on Diddy. How many Diddy pastors do we have? How many Diddy imams? Diddy priest? How many? It's easy to hide behind something that's on TV. See, but if you start raising up men, you won't have that type of nonsense in church. You wouldn't have as many boys turned out. I don't knock these boys in our churches who battle with homosexuality. You know why? Because it's not their fault. It was some gatekeeper preacher that did it to you. Unless we have this conversation, we don't want to heal church. We just want to collect offerings and act like a bunch of clowns on one day of the week. Heyman, what time will what be happening, bro? I'm sorry, I just missed you. I was in my bag, and what time will what be happening? Let me know. Let me know what you mean. My man Burrows. Hey man, I love you, Burrows, and I'm proud of you, bro. I'm proud of you. You're a great dad, hanging in there with your wife. See, I want to talk about you for a second. I want to talk about this. I want to talk about my brother James Burrows right quick. This guy right here has been through a whole lot, and he always fought to choose the greater part. That's all I'm gonna say. This guy right here, James Burrows, on my screen, he could have folded, he could have bent to the will. He fought and fought and fought. That's a man. Love you, bro. The Devil's Hollywood took. I'm gonna do a whole podcast on it, Heyman. Yeah, I'm gonna do a podcast on it because the devil's heaven. Yes, he created heavens. There's a heaven in the church. He created a heaven. You know what that is? Everybody wants to speak at big churches. I want such and such to invite me. Oh my God. Preaching in the storefront is not good enough anymore. I want to preach at the big church. You might lose something preaching at the big. You don't know the exchange you got to make. You might got to make an exchange. And see, for some of y'all don't know. I've been in these big rooms. I've been all over the world. I've been around these. I know what happens. I know the gatekeeper. I know what it costs a lot of people to get where they got to go. And while you watching on TV, like, oh my God, I want to be like them. You don't know they've been diddied. Because there's a realm that Satan has created. Everybody wants to be somebody. And Satan said, okay, come on up, come on up, come on up, come on up, come on up. Because nobody want to take the low road. Men don't want to put their feet on the ground. Everybody want to be a star now. Stars fall. Men walk. Let me see. Satan has structure. Yes, Yolanda. He has an organizational structure. He has a mock for everything God has. His heaven is right here on earth, and people are trying to get to it really bad. Yes, Satan has an organizational structure in place from the beginning of time to steal, kill, and destroy. That's what we see it in the garden. We are not ignorant regarding Satan's devices. This is the thing. Yolanda. We are ignorant. That's why even Jesus said, I would not have you ignorant, my brothers. Or was it Paul? Somebody said it. I'm sorry, I can't get it right now. I'm live. But somebody said, I would not have you ignorant, my brothers. He knew it's the lack of knowledge. That's why I battle so hard in my life. Right? And I ain't talking about having a bad life, but I battle mentally that Satan wants to he tries to kill me in my thinking every time I wake up because he hates the fact that I'm doing this. I hated him since I was 12. He hated me. That's why all these things, but I'll push while I'm broke. I'll push with nothing. I'll push till I die because somebody got to be a revolutionary around here. I'm like Moses, seeing the whole church die in the daggone slavery of Egypt, and I'm supposed to not come get you. I'm supposed to act like it's okay. I'm supposed to let you choke on garlic and leek when we could be eating fruit and milk and honey. But again, we love being suppressed because it's easy to be suppressed. It costs you to get on your feet. Brother, it's going to cost you to get on your feet. Let me see. And then you have some of us that have been in certain places years ago, but didn't take the bait. Yes. Right. And so you have what you have all. So so peep it. We're being challenged in 3 dimensions. We're being suppressed in churches. We're being suppressed in education. We're being suppressed in the family structure. Let's get into it now. Let me put this up right quick. Hey, y'all. I do have Dear Brother the advice. So listen, I know a lot of times what happens is I'm talking and I don't see the chats, and I'm sorry that sometimes I miss this stuff. I'm going to put it up right now. I'm a Dear Brother the advice. We're going to put that up right now. So jump in the chat, whether you're on Instagram, wherever you are, jump in the chat. And put whatever advice you need. It relates to relationship advice, business advice. Listen, I've lived like 4 lives. I can help you. I want to help you. And again, for some of you brothers who need one-on-one, thank you all the men who've been breaking the stigma. You've been jumping on my website, christianwinners.com, grabbing your one-on-one coaching for men. I'm gonna tell you, I do one-on-one coaching, group coaching is all donation based. I'm not a capitalist. I'm in the human capital. All right. So go to my website right now. But if you need advice, put it in the chat. So before I end the show, I can help everybody with the advice. All right. Good stuff. All right. But the family structure has hurt us. Why? Because most of our families weren't aware on how to give us something as men. They didn't know how. Right. The level of fathers that have left the family, where's the structure? Right? I'm not knocking the woman. The woman can give a boy love. She can show him where his heart is. She can show him how to see life through a softer eye, so he's not an animal, right? But it's a man that gives him that wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, and resilience to stand in his manhood and balance the heart and the soul. Right? That's what men do. See, so when you lack men in the household, then you don't have the structure you need. The family structures have been failing generations, right? Because again, the families, these in these communities, we've lacked resources. We've lacked resources. We've lacked financial support. And we taught each other how to survive as men. There's not a lot of men teaching men how to thrive. And in order for a man to thrive, you got to heal him within. I play high school football. And one of the things we do, we put on some rap music, when we was in high school, and then it was like Tupac, Big, and all that. And we would listen to it, get all hype in the locker room, and everybody, yeah, right? And I played for Germantown, so whoever we was playing, we all hype, right? We gonna go get them, right? But inspiration doesn't heal a man. If a man is in that same locker room and he's broken, you can't inspire him. He's broken. You got to heal him before you inspire him. And there's too much inspiration and not enough focus on healing. Because you can get a man all hype. If his legs broke, he can't play the game. And I think we spent more time in church hyping up people. We spent more time in education hyping up people. We spent more time through politics hyping up people. And we have not healed them. A hyped up man that can't walk can't help. A hyped up man that can't walk can't help. We've been suppressed. Breaking the cycles. We got to break the cycles. Why? Because overcoming these systematic failures in religious organizations and educational systems. And while I'm talking about educational systems, I said this the other day on another podcast, and I want to say it again. Y'all see all the nonsense. And if you're a teacher, let me know you're in the building. All the nonsense that happens in schools. I believe the education thing, the building is on Broad Street now. Imagine 5,000 men in Philadelphia, 5,000 men in Chicago, 5,000 men in Houston, 5,000 men in Delaware, 5,000 men in these major cities all over the country. Imagine 5,000 to 10,000 men showing up, standing in front of the education building saying, we need to talk about the education that's happening in our city. Everything would change real quick. I'm not telling y'all not to vote. I ain't telling you not to vote. And I know it's hot season for voting and all y'all hype on these clown politicians. They have no power. They're only going to do what people listen. Politicians are broke. They only get into the game by who funds them, and who funds a politician causes them to say what they say. You understand? Politicians aren't born rich. Some of them, very few of them. But when you have a politician that comes out of nowhere and suddenly has billions of dollars, you think those people are giving those billions of dollars to that politician for fun? No, they're giving those billions of dollars to that politician to control what comes out of their mouth. So I'm not telling y'all not to vote. I'm just saying it's more powerful. Your presence is more powerful than your vote. Your presence is more powerful than your vote. Your presence is more powerful than your vote. I would debate that all day. Your presence is more powerful than your vote, because if 5,000 men show up in front of an education building, it won't matter who they voted for. In that moment, that top dog up top would have to come down and talk to 5,000 men in their city about the broken education system. You want to be, and some of y'all that want to change the world, you want to be a real Christian, stop hiding behind the drums and the microphone, hooping and hollering and doing a clown show, hoop and holler in front of a building, hoop and holler in front of an old folks home that's abusing the old. You want to do the work of Christ? That's the work of Christ. Jesus never said stop and just worship me. He said follow me. Where you want to go? I want to go where broken people are. The greatest worship you can ever do as a man is to get up, find a hurt, and heal it. You want to be a Christian? Find a hurt and heal it. Find something broken and fix it. You want to please God? Stop hiding. Stop hiding. Stop hiding. Stop hiding. Come outside. Come outside. Come outside where the devil is. Come outside where the devil is. Huh? You inside playing with devils? Come outside where the real one is. Education systems, religious systems, and family structures. We have failed men. We have failed men because we suppress the strength of a man. We don't want men too strong. We don't want men too strong, because strong men change society by the power of their word. Do you understand what I'm saying? That's what God made man for. Let me tell y'all this. In the Bible says that a man, right? God created man, right? He created everything 6 days, and then at the 7th day he rested, right? God rested. God went down. When you go to bed, you first fall asleep. You want anybody in your room waking you up? No, you don't. Why would God rest and invite a man to wake him up? God didn't want to. He wanted to rest. He had done all his work. So the question is not the first 7 days of creation or the 6 days of creation. The question is, what did God do in the 8th day? That's the real revelation. The revelation is not the 6 days of creation. The revelation is the 8th day. And what did he do in the 8th day? He transferred all power to man. I don't have to do anything anymore. You're the landlord, man. You're the landlord, man. I trust you. It ain't about you trusting me. That's another thing. I'm gonna throw y'all off with this, especially all your religious people. In the Garden of Eden, God didn't want Adam to trust him. God trusted Adam. That is the perversion of man. That's the biggest perversion of man, is that we got to a place where now we're trying to trust God for things he already gave us. The real goal from God was to get God trusted man. He trusted what we said. Christian, you tripping, you making that up. Okay, here's the proof. Why would God make a blank slate of an earth and then say, hey man, whatever you want to name it, you can name it? He trusted man. He trusted man so much when he put the man to sleep, took a rib out of him and created a woman. He brought the woman back to Adam. She didn't have a name yet. She didn't have an identity yet. I trust that guy so much, I'm going to let you name this last creation. God trusted man. See, why am I teaching like this? I'm teaching like this because we got to get back to a place where God trusts men again. He trusts what you say, right? But he can't trust a suppressed man. The only man God can trust is a man who's not hiding behind the fig leaves of the fallacy of religion and education systems and political systems and family structures. He's looking for a man who's willing to stand up, break all these structures, then free other men to do the same thing. Oh, I'm not on this podcast just to have a podcast. And I'm not on this podcast just to get monetized. You think I want to sit here and sit back and collect a check from YouTube? Are you kidding me? Huh? I want to start a whole movement of men globally. Yeah. I got a spot right now soon I'm gonna purchase this spot. It's gonna blow our minds. If I can turn this one building that God showed me into a center for men, then it will become the city hall of our entire city. And then I want to wash, rinse, repeat, and do that in other broken cities. Centers for men only, huge for men only, with a school in it, with all the stuff I love, culinary in it, education in it, a boys' school in it. Yeah. All the skills a man needs to be a man, in adult education classes for men. Yeah, not job readiness, hire on the spot. You want to change the city? Save a man. Let me see. Let me go in this chat. Let me see who's in the building. Youth educate. Okay. So you feel me. You feel me then, Calvin. You're a youth educator. So you feel me. You understand what's going on in there. And thank God for you, Calvin Blaine. Thank God for you, bro. I thank God for you being in those buildings, right? Because listen, Calvin, you are the presence of God in there. See, I want y'all to understand this about your job. You weren't born to work a job. Think of it this way. Your job is paying for the presence of God to be there. Your job is paying for the presence of a man to be there. What does a man do? Protect, provide. He sees, he guards. That's what your job is paying you for. So instead of going in there, just punching that clock just to get through the end of the day, imagine being a man in that building and seeing who you can heal. Imagine being a man in that building and shaking the janitor's hand, praying for him, hugging him, ministering to him. Imagine being on your job and now you are ministering to the lunch staff. And see, that's what manhood is. Manhood is realizing I came from God. I'm more than an accountant. I'm more than a lawyer, more than a doctor, more than a bus driver. I'm God's presence here. That's manhood. Let me see. What did Yah do on the 8th day? He transferred all power into man. Brother Calvin. He transferred all power into man. He said, all this stuff I did is all yours, man. Go groom it and make it greater. That's what God did in the 8th day. See, we got to teach men to accept the responsibility of taking 6 days of creation into his own hands, saying, God, I can handle it. I'm the landlord. All right. I agree. If we help men, we help the world. Yes, sir, bro. Yes, sir, Gary. My man, Gary. Huh? Yeah. If we help men, we not only help the world, bro. We change society. It's called man voice. Every man is born with man voice. People don't want you to know you have man voice. Man voice changes things. Yes. Right? Women have discernment, emotional discernment to see a problem. Man voice has the power to speak to that problem. See, that's why that's why the suppression is there. It doesn't want you to know you have a voice. It wants you to think as a man, you only have a voice if you have money. You only have a voice if you wear this kind of clothes. You only have a voice if you look like this. You only have a voice if you drive this. It's the same trick in the Bible, right? They didn't think David had a voice because he was little. They thought Saul had a voice because his head and shoulders above other. The same trick is happening today. You got men thinking they're worthless because they don't look the part. See, people with authority ain't worried about what they look like. Why y'all think I wear black every day? Huh? Oh, Christian, because you're a revolutionary? No, because I don't buy nothing else, dog. All I need is black t-shirts, black sweatpants, some black sneakers. Why? Because I don't want to think about what I'm wearing. I only want to think about what I'm doing. That's for all you clowns out there who have stylists and all that before you stand in front of your church. You're more worried about how you look than what you say. You're a clown. Let me see. Naya, how you doing, sister? Build up a man, equip him with trades. Yes. 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 Not only equip him with trades, though, Naya, equip him with a mindset. A mindset, let him know he got man voice. Thank you, Naya. Yes. Let me see. We thank God for your assignment in the earth, my brother. Thank you, sister. Thank you. Please cover me in prayer because I think what I'm doing is mighty dangerous. I was built for this. I was built for this. Y'all pray for this. This sounds wild. At some point, I wrote it in my notes for my future. At some point, once I gather this plethora of men all over the globe, especially in the United States, because I don't want to be the king. I want men in their cities to take over. But eventually, my goal is to have one big meeting at the very center point. I think it's in South Dakota, the very center point of the United States. Gather hundreds of thousands of men in the very center of the United States, and meet there, talk there about issues. That's my goal. This podcast is just me talking, me trying to change the minds of men. My goal is to have a couple 100,000 men meet in the center of the country to talk about how we change it, then pray about it. Let me see. Naya, most men cannot even fix something broken in the home. You know why, Naya? Because a lot of people weren't taught. See, my dad taught me. He woke me up on Sunday morning and said, "Hey, come on, let's cut this grass. Come on, this is how you change the tires." That don't exist no more. We don't have fathers anymore. We have older men trying to act like young boys. We have older men trying to chase young girls. Well, if you're trying to chase a young girl and get money, you're not educating men around you. But I don't blame those men. You know why? Because it's systems. That's who I blame. It's the systems. Let me see. Doing some Malcolm X, Malcolm, Martin, JFK assignments, bro. Yes, I am. And you know what happened to all those men? They were killed for it. Guess what happened to Jesus? He was killed for it. Guess what happened to Gandhi? He was killed for it. Any person who tries to bring unity, if I was out here just talking about black men, they wouldn't have a problem with me. If I was out here talking about black men, they wouldn't have a problem with me. I'm out here talking about all men and how the spirit against men is against all men. Racism is a hoax. Racism is a spiritual hoax. That's another divide that makes people not get together. Oh, I don't get with you because you white. You poor and I'm poor. I'm poor black, you poor white, but somehow I was in Kensington one time helping the heroin addicts, right? See, this is why I talk like this too. So for people who like question my leadership while I was a pastor, please go sit down. Please go sit down. Please go sit down. Because while you were chasing titles, I was in Kensington. I remember one time I had to buy heroin for a girl who was ready to get off the street. But if y'all know anything about drugs, she was so messed up that she was not functional enough for me to take her to the rehab. I had to go buy heroin for her to get high enough for me to take her in the car, for me to take her to rehab. That's what I was doing as a pastor. So don't let nobody question me. And nobody questions me to my face. They just talk in the background. While you were trying to get a title, while you were trying to get robes made, while you were trying to decide what gold chain you wanted, dog, I was in Kensington getting heroin addicts off the street. That's why nobody can check me on this work. Racism is spiritual. Yes, it is. Sexism is spiritual. Sexism is spiritual. And you see that all over the internet now. Look at it. Look at it. You have men that hate women. I'm noticing now on my podcast. Anytime I say anything good about women, or anytime I say what a man needs to become, you have men that get on there. I had men call me all kinds of names and everything. I laugh at it, Look at this clown pandering to women. You need to tell women about that. What? I'm talking to men about getting better, and look at that spirit. I don't blame these men. They're blinded. They've been suppressed so long that they can't even stand a man telling them to get better. Just like some of y'all church folks. You've been suppressed so long in your little religious box that you would rebuke what I'm saying. I'm trying to get you to see God past your street and see that spirit that will make you hate somebody who's trying to push you forward. So I'm trying to push men forward, and they hate me for not knocking women. And then you got women that hate me for not knocking men. Look at the divide. You don't see the subtle beast of the field. He's been working since Genesis. If you got a woman that hate a man and a man that hate woman, one thing that blows my mind is that even though women right now, and this is social media is pushing this, even though you got women that hate men and men hate women, they still making babies. So what happens to those babies? Why you got a social media argument about this one, and the passport bros want to go buy a passport, and he want a woman with long hair? Come on. This is all spiritual. It's all division. It's all division. And anytime you can create a division, you create lanes, you create divides for the enemy to come and break up structure. Oh, we need men. We need men. Hey, let me take a commercial break right quick, my brother. Again, anybody, dear brother, the advice, if you need advice, jump in the chat. I will help you out. I will serve you, bro. Go to my website, christianwinners.com. Go to my website, christianwinners.com. Sign up. If you're hurting, you're trying to figure some things out. You're a single man trying to figure out marriage, trying to figure out how do I look at this thing, man. Don't do this thing by yourself. As a man, don't do this thing by yourself. Don't think you can do this by yourself. Jump and listen. And again, go in there. It's donation based. Some of you guys got a little money in your pocket. You need some help. Come on in and donate so I can help a man who don't have it. Right? That's all it's about. That's all it's about. Let me see. Who's in this chat? Thank you. Understand what it takes to be in Kensington. Your work is commendable. Thank you, Naya. I appreciate you, sister. Absolutely. I'm trying to grind, sister. I'm trying to grind. I'm trying to do what Jesus would do. I'm trying to do what Jesus would do. Good morning, brother Eric, my man. Fired up, ready to go. Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. Let's do it. So we got to get away from these places that suppress us as men. And we got to see the systems that suppress us as men. And if you have a son, I got a son right now. I got a son. There he is right there. Right? I got to warn him of the system. He wants to be the president of the United States. Right? And I'm seriously working toward it. It's his second year at college, and he's like about to be the president of the school. This dude is dead serious about what he wants to do. I have to protect him from the system. Right? Teach your boys, man. Now I'm going to say this, and y'all going to think I'm crazy, but the greatest thing you can do if you have a son right now is teach him how to garden. I believe the greatest thing you can do if you got a son right now, the greatest thing you can do for your son is teach him how to garden. Why? It teaches them patience. It teaches them process. Yeah. It teaches them carefulness. Yes. Yeah. And it teaches him how to make food for his family. You know why? I want y'all to know something. See, I study everything. All this seedless fruit. You think that's a mistake? You think it's a mistake that they're putting seedless fruit in our markets? That means it's not real. Anything that doesn't have a seed is not real. Anything that doesn't have a seed is not real. Huh? It's not. It's killing you. It's scientifically generated. It's not food. And it's getting worse. I watched the Microsoft guy. I won't say his name. I don't want YouTube to splatter me. I watched the Microsoft guy explain how he's going to make fake food because it controls the population. They know that these products will kill a certain amount of people to control the population in the United States. When you pick up that apple, that piece of fruit from the market, and it has wax all over it, that's not just for it to be preserved. That's also there to control the body. The greatest thing you can do for a boy is teach him how to take care of his family, feed his family, to break the system. Let me see. Enslaved and voluntary. We do something similar, providing space for safe spaces. Yes, emotional support, resources to either create, build, connect to their needs and wants by elimination of barriers. Hey, Naya, inbox me, sister. Inbox me. Let's talk about that. My man, Michael Johnson. Hey, brother. Hey, my brother. Thank you, man. Thank you for being here too, bro. Let me see. Brennan Pritchett. Hey, Pritchett. This dude is amazing right here. Hey, Pritchard, I love you, bro. Hey, and you can't call me bishop no more. I'm not a husband of one wife. I'm divorced. I can't be a bishop, so you got to take that off. And tell all these other clown pastors who keep on carrying this thing. They got 5 different women, divorced 17 times. You can't be a bishop. Can you be a minister? Can you be a great minister? Can you be awesome? Can you change the world? Absolutely. But you can't carry the title of bishop if you're not married to one wife. So you just got to call me Christian, Pritch. I love you, brother. Pritchard is an amazing musician, man. And not just with the keys, with his mind. Love you, brother. Let me see. Not only that, you had to have a certain amount in your system to even get the help. Yes. And we forced them to change the process. Yes. Yes. See, but this is the work. You hear. Thank you, Naya. Thank you for sharing it, because this is the work of men. And I'm not knocking the sisters. I'm just telling you it's the work of men. No sister should be doing that work by herself. She should be surrounded by men who's doing that work. And if the woman is the nurturer, we should be out in the field taming the beast to bring the beast to the woman for her to heal. And since I know I got some sisters on here, you listen, sis, you weren't made to push and pull. You weren't made to push and pull. Where's my book at? Go get my book. It's The Soul of Sarah, Amazon.com right now. Brothers, you got a girlfriend, you got a wife, go on Amazon right now, man. Get the book for women. Get the book for women. Get The Soul of Sarah, bro. And I'm so proud. My daughter right there, she helped me. She wrote a chapter in here with me. It's so dope, right? But yeah, Soul of Sarah, bro. And I know y'all. This is the book that got me blasted by everybody. That's because they don't understand it. This book, I explained Nehemiah and the future of the church. They're so scared of this title. They so scared of the title that they said I don't love God anymore. Oh, stop it. I left church to serve God, because most churches serve their pastor. They don't serve God. That's why the title is you serve systems. You're not serving God. They got you fooled. They got you fooled. Just like this clown pastor the other day said, don't give your money to the poor, give it to the church. So you could build another building and not feed the poor? It's clownery. Go get the book, Soul of Sarah, man. It's on Amazon right now. Visit my website. Donation-based coaching. Let me see who's in the chat. Pritch, love you, boy. You crazy, Pritch. Let me see. That's how God created it to be from the beginning. He picked the man to Michael Johnson. You see what I'm saying? You see what I'm saying? And that's what we have to revisit. If we're going to heal a man, we got to revisit the garden, and we got to revisit the garden before the fall of man. Right? We got to help men. Listen, brothers, you have to see who you were before your failure to understand who you actually are. What are you saying, Christian? What I'm saying is, when we talk about the book of Genesis, we only talk about the fall of man. We don't talk about the man before the fall. And we're rehearsing the same thing now. And that's why most of you brothers are rehearsing your pain. You're always trying to get better. I'm just trying to get better. I'm just trying to get better. You know, this push to get better, it exhausts you and it makes you quit. You don't have to get better. You don't have to get better. You have to be restored. You have to remember who you were before that pain hit your life. Whatever that pain is different for everybody, right? But there's something that happened to you that changed you. There's something that happened to you that changed you at some point in life. Or whatever age it was. Something changed you. Something changed you. And when something changes you that way, then you lose something. So why? Why did I write this book? Home Where Hurt Men Heal is teaching men to get back to who they are, not who people require them to be, who they are. Who they are. Hey, I gotta let me see. Don't give to the poor so we can make the pastor's pocket. Absolutely. Yeah. Huh? We gotta restore ourselves. Hey y'all. Anybody need some advice before we go, man? This is our advice hour before we go. We have been with you for an hour and 15 today. It was great. I gotta get ready to shoot more podcasts. I'm about to produce a new book, put it out soon. I walk through the whole book of Proverbs, and I take each proverb and I break it down for the wisdom for men. I'm trying to put that out about next month. I wrote that book years ago. I'm revising it, and I'm putting it out again. I'm walking through the whole book of Proverbs. And let me say this while I'm on here. Anybody ever heard of Proverbs 31? I know y'all have. I know y'all have heard of Proverbs 31, and it's gonna mess y'all up, and some of y'all women might get a little offended at that about this, but it's the truth. Proverbs 31 was not written for women. All right, go ahead. Put my hands up. I don't want no smoke. Just truth. Y'all made conferences out of it and everything. Proverbs 31 was not written for women. It was written for a son. The whole book of Proverbs is a father writing his son a letter. And each proverb deals with a different point of wisdom, friendship, money, how you do this, how you deal with this, how you build this, how you tear down this, how you build friendships. The whole book, all 30 chapters, builds up a man. The 31st book, Proverbs 31, then he writes about a woman. The reason why he writes about a woman in Proverbs 31, he's telling him this is the woman you have to choose. This is the kind of woman you have to choose. Why? Because all that wisdom I gave you from chapter 1 to chapter 30 will be completely wiped out if you don't marry a Proverbs 31 woman. You marry the wrong woman, everything you gain will be lost, my brother. Because you know why? A free man that marries the wrong woman puts himself in bondage. A free man who marries the wrong woman puts himself in bondage. Now watch this. Eve wasn't the wrong woman for Adam, but he still wound up in bondage. Oh, Christian, it wasn't the woman's fault. I agree. It wasn't the woman's fault because God gave man the command, didn't he? Yes, he did. But the slickest beasts of the field knew the only way to get to him is to use the power of her seduction. Use the power of her seduction. See, Satan knew I can't seduce Adam. He's too in touch with himself. I can't seduce Adam. He's too in touch with himself. I can't mess that man up. He's too connected to his purpose. He's too connected to his purpose. So what am I going to do? I'm going to use something that has the power of seduction. Now listen to me, ladies. Seduction is not a bad word. Seduction can be perverted to break a man. That's why you wives be very careful because the Satan is still trying to hand you fruit, sister. Check, 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 check. Y'all can hear me? Let me know y'all can hear me. My computer is really acting up. Yes? Y'all hear me? Sound is out. Come on, y'all. Let me see. What's going on? Y'all can't. They trying, see? System trying to make me. All right. Let me know it's back on, y'all. Let me know if y'all can hear me, if my sound's back on. So I don't know what's happening. Okay, good. Thanks, Mike. Yes. See, you got to understand what seduction is as a wife. The gift of seduction is that, I'll give y'all an example. My dad was like, he had rage. Like, he was a Vietnam vet. He was always pissed off, right? And I've seen my dad be so angry, right? And I've watched my mom say, Thomas, relax. What is that? That's the power of seduction. It's seduction. What seduction is, it pulls you from your current feeling. It pulls you from your current stance. That's what seduction is. Every woman is born with the gift of seduction. The gift of seduction only becomes a curse when she takes the fruit of Satan. Sisters, as a wife, as a girlfriend, be sure that you're not bringing rotten fruit back to your home. Why? Because your man loves you. He trusts you. You got to watch what you bring back to his purpose. It can throw him off. Watch the conversations you have that you bring back to the house. Y'all hear me? Watch. Satan is still handing women fruit. The man don't have to take it, but in a sense, what? He's always going to take it if he's in love. He's always going to take it. See, what we're trying to figure out now has been existent since Genesis. And while we're trying to run away from these truths, these are the truths we got to get. I'll give y'all another truth. Y'all ready? Y'all ready? Here's another truth. I wonder what would have happened if Eve and Adam had their children before the fall. Because what I believe is the reason why Cain killed his brother Abel was because when Adam was whole, he would have produced whole children. After the fall, he was split between his humanity and his godliness. And when he had children, his children became a picture of his split image, of his brokenness. The part of him that was so human he couldn't find himself, and the godly part of him. You see a man sacrificing, you see another man selfish and stealing. I believe this is why. Listen, brothers, this is why when you go to get married, don't get married thinking marriage is going to make you better. Marriage is not going to make you better. Make sure that you're whole, so you make a whole decision. You choose a whole wife. 50 and 50 don't make 100. In math, it does. In relationship, it doesn't. You need a woman that's aware of herself, and you need a man that's aware of himself. In order to make a healthy marriage. And if you are broken and you make those babies, you'll see your evil in your children. Oh boy. Ooh-wee. You'll see your evil in your children. See, this is serious, man. Seriously, that's why you can't get married, because you're horny. You can't get married because she got a body. Because then you're going to produce children out of that attitude. You can't get married because she looks good on your side. Oh, she looked good with me. That same woman that looks good next to you will harm your future. See, these are all things that suppress us, and we don't even know. Right? Because the scripture talks about, I got to do a podcast on this too, the different kind of woman the scripture talks about. The scripture talks about the silly woman. It talks about the conniving woman, right? It also talks about the woman who would make up her lips. This is in my new book that I write on Proverbs. She makes up her lips. She puts makeup on, right? And it says her arms flail, looking for strong men in the earth, and men look at her and they want to come to her, and they see her beautiful arms waving at them. They see her face made with beauty. And the scripture says what they don't see is that her feet are tied to the bowels of hell. you will wind up in a beautiful disaster if you're not together as a man. You can't make good choices, man, until you solidify yourself, bro. And in order to solidify yourself, you got to take yourself away from certain people, certain places, certain mentalities. You got to be willing to make a split. And when you make a split as a man, everybody ain't going to be happy with that split, right? Because as a man, when you decide to go into the will of God, you take yourself out of the grace of men. When you decide to be a man and jump into the will of God, you have to know that it will take you out of the grace of men. There's so many pastors that secretly hate me because I'm challenging their idol. I had a pastor the other day say something like, I guess the pulpit. The pulpit is the new, podcast. Yeah, it is. I'm supposed to preach to the world. Of course. Why wouldn't I move the pulpit outside? You know why most preachers don't want their pulpit outside? They want to preach to the safe people. They want to preach to the people that understand. That's what you want to preach to. You want to preach to people you can hoop and holler at and throw towels and excite them. You don't want to preach to people you got to change their heart, because it requires something of you to change a man's heart. It don't require nothing to catch a key and an organ and hoop like a fool behind a microphone. That takes nothing. Jesus was looking all around, right? When he called Zacchaeus out the tree, there were people all around him. And the people touching him and wanting, and he looked up, he saw Zacchaeus in the tree. He said, "Hey, you come out that tree." Who did he look to minister to? He looked to minister to the man that was hiding. He wasn't worried about the people that was celebrating him. He was looking for the man that was hiding. Yeah. Oh boy. All right. And so I'm gonna end this podcast here. Let me go back. If we understand the systems that keep us in failure, we'll understand how to change them. Right? Understand this. Again, there was no church, no masjid, no synagogue in the garden. It was just a family. I'm not saying nothing's wrong with going to church, but make sure you go to a church that lifts you up as a man and teaches you how to live family as a man. If you're in a church that's not taking you back to Eden to show you what to do, you're in the wrong church. If you're in a church that's taking more from you than giving to you, you're in the wrong church. If you're in a church where you got to go there and survive every Sunday and survive the gossip and the clownery, you're in the wrong church. If you're in a church that keeps you behind the walls of the church, you're in the wrong church. If you're not in a church that builds you up as a man, you're in the wrong church. If you're in a church where your wife is more responsible for loving the pastor than going home and loving her husband, you're in the wrong church. If your kids are being broken in the education system and they're coming home crying because they can't pass a test and their esteem is going down, you need to start educating your kid. You can send them to school and do what you got to do, but when they come home, give them another education. Connect them to them so they're not connected and tied into whether they do well on a test and they're judging their personality by how good they do on the test. And as a family, stop teaching your sons this foolish stuff. One thing my father told me, one of the worst lessons he ever taught me was don't trust no woman. I carried that for so many years and I never trusted any woman around me. Ever. Bad lesson. And I carried it. Generational lessons we teach boys. We got to protect them from that. We got to protect our boys from hustling and getting a little bit of money. We got to educate ourselves. Even if we don't know, we got to go and educate ourselves so we give our boys something else besides the struggle and survival and hanging in there. There's a system destroying men, and we got to confront it. All right, I'm out of here, y'all. Great show. Let me see who's in the chat. Michael Johnson, my man. Good talk, sir. We overly preach to and undertaught. Yes, it takes work to change. Yes. It takes heart. It takes compassion, right? And I'm gonna tell you one thing. I'm gonna tell you this, brother Mike, Pastor Michael Johnson. It also takes us to get rid of who we think we are. I'm gonna say this to you, especially I'm gonna say this to you. One thing that I've always been mind blown at is the 30 years of preparation that Jesus went through for 3.5 years of changing the world. 30 years of prep for 3.5 years of work. You know what that did? I believe that 30 years, he popped out at 12 to let everybody know who he was. Then he went back. Why? Because I believe those 30 years really made him understand the humanity, really put him in connection with what has to be done here so he wouldn't walk above the people. There's too many leaders who haven't had silent time that connects them to people. They come with big dreams to try to help people, but not enough compassion to love the heart of the people they're trying to help. All right, y'all, I got to go. I'll be on here all day long. I got to go. Hey, Facebook, let me tell y'all something, Facebook. Go to YouTube and subscribe to the channel. Eventually, I'm going to come off of Facebook with these lives, okay? So go on YouTube, subscribe to the Dear Brother podcast. Sisters, go on YouTube and subscribe to the Dear Sister podcast. Christian activists that want to see the church go to another dimension, go to YouTube and sign up for the Christian Activist podcast. Yes, I'm insane. I have 3 podcasts. The Christian Activist podcast, the Dear Sister podcast, and the Dear Brother podcast, right? Go on there and connect, go subscribe to those channels. I'm teaching every day to men, to women, and to the church. Go on YouTube right now, subscribe, man. Subscribe and share. And go get my books, The Soul of Sarah. Soul of Sarah is on The Soul of Sarah is on Amazon right now. Go get it, right? Go get The Soul of Sarah. 1441, I left church to serve God. This book was inspired by the story of Nehemiah. The first part of this book, I tell my story from 14 to 41 and the things I suffered all around the world, teaching the gospel, my different experiences, facing racism while preaching and all kinds of things. I tell a long story. And then the second half of this book talks about the future of the church, the Nehemiah approach to rebuilding the church. Don't be scared of this book. Don't be scared of this book, because what's it doing? It's telling you what the church should be doing. Yes. And if you're offended by the title, think about it this way. Be truthful. A lot of churches are serving their leaders. They're not serving God. They're serving tradition. They're not serving God. If people really start serving God, they would start breaking out all around the world. The church is a gas station. You fill up. You don't stay. And brothers, go get my book, Home Where Hurt Men Heals, all on Amazon right now. And no matter what, go to my website, christianwinners.com. I have donation-based coaching for men. All right. I do group coaching for some of y'all that have men's stuff at your churches. You got men's stuff at your mosque. You got men's stuff. I'll come to the hood. I'll come to the trap house. I'll come wherever you are to meet with men, to raise men up. This is a revolution, but it's not a violent one. It's a mental one. All right, y'all. No fear, no shame, no compromise. I love y'all. Today is Thursday. Yes, I will see you tomorrow morning. Go subscribe on YouTube to my channels, the Dear Sister podcast, Dear Brother podcast, Christian Activist podcast. Hey, and if you're being blessed, man, donate. You can donate to my work, because I'm helping men. Let me see where it's at. Do I have it? Yes. Look, if this thing is blessing you every morning, invest in what I'm doing so I can help other men. Invest what I'm doing so I can spread this thing across the nation. Invest what I'm doing so I can go in these prisons and talk to these men and give out books for free to men that don't have anything. If you believe in my work, invest, man. Invest in the work. Thank you so much for listening to me. Master Built One on Cash App and Venmo. You can support my work. You can support my writings. You can support what I do. I can build a website. I can push my my podcast further. I can advertise more. If you believe in my work, man, give. You can give, right? You can give in Cash App and Venmo right now. You can be a blessing to my work. All right. So thank you, everybody, for hanging out with me this morning, man. Thank you for this early morning rise. Let me see who's on Instagram. Oh man, Instagram. Thanks for hanging out this morning, y'all. Y'all pretty dope, Instagram. Soon we'll be on TikTok as well in the morning. Y'all ain't going nowhere. Y'all are. All right, y'all. I'm out. No fear, no shame, no compromise. I'll see y'all later.